Cabinet Secretary, I realise that you'll be reluctant to speak about a specific case, so I'm just using this as an illustration. I have a constituent who was told by the local council that her 11-year-old daughter would be expected to get on a school bus, then change onto a connecting public bus to go to school some 15 to 20 miles away. It's probably not an uncommon story across Wales. A while ago, as well, I took a trip on public transport with a group of young people travelling from their high school back to their home. Although it was a great joy to meet the very sensible and bright young people, it was concerning because an 11-year-old could have been asked to do that journey on their own. It involved coming into contact with busy roads and complete strangers, and decent and honest though the vast majority of fellow passengers will be on public transport, we do have a duty to safeguard children and young people, and I'm sure you'll agree with me there. So what checks do you require local authorities and schools to undertake before subcontracting school transport or deciding that children must travel on public transport to school?
Firstly, can I say a great many children travel to school on public transport, and they do that successfully and safely every day. School transport actually comes under the portfolio of my colleague, the Cabinet Secretary for the Economy, and the rules regarding school transport are set out in the learner travel measure that was passed by the Assembly a number of years ago. Under that legislation, parents have the right to ask their local authority for a safe routes assessment to be carried out by the local authority to assure that the routes that the local authorities are asking young people to travel on are properly risk assessed and are properly looked at in terms of learner safety. And I would say to your constituent via yourself that they need to pursue that first option with their local education authority to carry out a safe routes to school analysis and to have that open for discussion.
Thank you for that answer, Cabinet Secretary. I totally empathise with the principle that provision should be decided locally, and that given the geography of Wales, planning transport routes can be a challenge. But there's a distinct lack of consistency, and it's all a bit hodgepodge. Depending on what school you go to, you might travel by school bus or public transport. You might travel in a completely different way from your neighbour, who's attending a school maybe just down the road. Now, I know what you said about the Transport Secretary having primary responsibility for this, but at the end of the day, you're Cabinet Secretary for Education, so you surely have an interest in how that school transport is provided. I also understand that there are financial pressures on local authorities and also on you as Cabinet Secretary. So have you considered and have you spoken to the Cabinet Secretary for Transport with a view to conducting a review of the way school transport is delivered and whether it could be simplified, provision pooled across schools and perhaps county boundaries to deliver a more effective service for children and young people while saving money that could be diverted onto other things?